Okay, I'm doing a test on both my audio as well as my blur. Am I blurry?
Doesn't look blurry to me. It looks super
Okay. Okay, this is me seeing the floors. Huh? Rolling. Huh? Rolling. Hi, we're back at the house. And today we're testing our final alchemist color. Hopefully it works. Come on. Okay, let's try it on the wall. My husband just taught me this little trick of using the top to test it so it's not as messy. He's smart. So this one is the upstairs bedroom, and this one would be this guest bedroom here. So this will be our primary. And I wanted to go with something a little creamier for the guest bedroom, so it just feels a little warmer, a little like a place to rest. And then this bright white, which is right here, is going to be the rest of the house. So when you walk into this room, you'd almost get like a little bit of a warm hug from this color. And then the rest of the house nice and bright. And then when we are in our primary suite, we're sleeping sound. Got it? I'm going to do just a bit of a test spot in the bathroom as well, even though the sheetrock is a little rawer than the bedroom I was just testing in. But this is the guest bathroom, our main bathroom. And here's a little sense of that color, just to eliminate some of the brush strokes. With the white tile. You see that? Not enough light. But we've got that pretty white tile, and then this creamy color just offsets really nicely because the sink is white, the toilet's white. So it's pretty. So we don't have any water turned on in the house currently, so I brought this little compostable bag so that I can get the brush home safely, and then I'll rinse it once we get back to the apartment. Compost bags for the win. So before we lay the tile, I meant to do it even before we laid the wood floor, but we have this much floor left. I'm going to write little messages on the floor so that it's infusing the house with that, I don't know, energy, not to sound too woo-woo, but I read in a book, I can't remember the name of the book right now, but it's by Cat Beauty in New York, out of New York. And they actually put crystals in their floor before they poured the floor, and they also wrote messages in the walls, which I did. I wrote messages in the walls, but just before they lay the floor, I'm going to put a few messages in the floor. I'm going to make my husband do it with me, even though he's probably apprehensive.
It's pretty woo-woo.
Okay, come on. Well, messages, for the house.
Okay.
You know how you want the house to feel. I don't know how many of you have heard of Schluter. My husband for sure hadn't, but this is a little piece of Schluter, and I want it to go in between the wood floors and the tile. And I requested a brushed brass, so this is that, and I wanted to test and make sure I just really liked the color. And basically this is one of the tiles, this is another tile, so just to give you a sense, that's what's going to show and separate between the floor, the wood floor, and then any kind of marble flooring. Ready? Okay, so I got the curtain back that I took in to get altered so it would fit. I didn't want it to, actually don't like it when they're too billowy. So I had it taken in and lengthened, and these are the tabs I had, so that way it can hang from almost up in the ceiling, almost, and be nearly touching the ground. Upper. Okay. All right. When we were in Portugal last holiday season, we went to a vintage shop. I guess it had a ton of like old light fixtures, but I was really there for the tile. And I got tile for each room, and I was just going to hang it up basically as an art piece. But we have this niche over here, and I was thinking that maybe these tiles could be the back of this niche. But would have to figure out how to fit them because I don't want to cut them at all. So maybe if we could center them right up the center. What do you think, Craig?
Yeah, maybe.
So, stack. This is our closet door. You can see it's on an angle, and I do want to do a shout out to Erin, who worked very hard on getting this angle for me, because I originally wanted the doors to be rounded, almost like a half arch, but they couldn't get a frame that would create that for me. At least they didn't know how to get one. So one of the guys said, let me work on it for a little while, and this is what he created, and I think it's very pretty. So happy with that. But the bigger deal, not the bigger deal, another deal is I got door hardware. And I talked about in another video how I'm doing a lot of like medium toned bronzes. And instead of brass, I'm doing just like a little bit of brass here and there, but for the most part, I'm sticking to bronzes and some chrome. And the interior doors up here, I couldn't reuse the vintage hardware, so I had to get new knobs, and I got them in this white bronze, really heavy duty. This is from M-Tech. And what's difficult about these is that they do come with a matching set of hinges. However, I thought that the hinges looked kind of like almost like spray painted in this color. So the old hardware in the house is all very old vintage brass, and I wanted to make sure that the hinges and the doorknobs, even though we were going in a different direction, still felt the same. So I did so much ordering of hinges to an inappropriate amount, actually. But I wanted to get it right. And so these are French antique hinges with white bronze door hardware. So even though they're a little different, I feel like they go beautifully together. And this looks like real metal to me, not just like spray painted to look like this metal. So that's the final interior door hardware. I'm so happy to, this might seem like a small detail, but when you're making the house from scratch, your mind is considering every detail. And in this case, I feel like let my hard work pay off for you because the French antique M-Tech goes so beautifully with the white bronze. And I wouldn't have known that unless I ordered a couple different types of hinges and colors and tested. But you can really see how beautifully they go together, how complementary. Watch me. Here's our refrigerator and our water. So we're here on painting day. We're starting with primer and we're using the Alchemist paint. And we thought we would give you outfit of the day to start our day because all of our painting clothes, painting gear, everything we left in a pod, which is in a storage facility. So Craig and I did a trip over to the Goodwill and he's sporting a whole entire outfit except for his socks.
Which I actually kind of like. There's going to be paint all over it pretty soon.
And then he graciously gave me his shoes to wear.
Morning. Hey, how you doing?
And then I got this cool t-shirt from a trip we just took that happened to be at the Goodwill. And these came with me. These are my project supplies. Anyway, we just want to encourage you to go to the Goodwill for your painting clothes should you need them.
Also making a plug for science, NASA.
I guess I'm just making one for taking weekend trips. also purchased 2 more of the large tiles so that they could do this, so that they could do one panel here of the large tile and then one, like almost like a tray of the large tile instead of this. So I went and purchased, they should have more than enough of these large tiles to be able to do that. And he had me purchase 2 more so that there'd be enough. So I think there should be enough for, to do that front face too in the upstairs bathroom. Okay, the fireplace is gonna be plastered soon, but Marcus wanted me to ask you about this. Goes out, he said, almost 3/4 of an inch, and so he wants to know what we should do if we have to do like a border surround. So, you know, we were just gonna have it flat plastered, and I'm going away to California, so I'm hoping when you talk to the plaster guy, maybe you have an idea for this or what we want to do there, because I don't know, and I want it to be right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Hi, everything is looking great, but this right here is tiled, and I actually want that to be one solid piece right there. So I noticed they did it on the inside too, so they could leave that, but I wanted this to be the solid top and then a solid front piece. So if you could tell them that. I tried to explain it yesterday, but I guess it's not coming through. And then they said that they have to wrap this tile around, and I'm hoping that they can end with this cap right here. Right at the end of the step, you know, as opposed to like out here, but they're not here. I was hoping to explain it to them when I popped in, but they're not here. So if you could help me get that message across. Thank you so much. Okay, this is me seeing the floors after they sanded them for the first time. With this old flooring, there were stains in the floor, and because they were espresso before, we couldn't see them. So the floor refinisher called and said, would you prefer to go darker so that these blend in more? And the problem was that I loved these lighter floors too much. So my answer was, let's just live with it. Let's see if we can get it in here. Let's just live with, sorry, the sun's blowing it out. Anyway, let's just live with it as character and let it, you know, get covered with furniture and rugs and things like that.
Whoa. It looks fantastic.
This is the hardest tape ever to get off. How do I get this off? but I can't get underneath it. This is like the meanest tape ever.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, here's a corner.
Yeah, I don't know. That's something.
Anyway, I'll get that
Someone's
later.
gonna need to.
The stone baked pizza mold reaching temperatures of 750 degrees Fahrenheit or higher. Preheat required. Results vary by ingredients.
Y'all doing okay today? Yeah. Good. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay, I'm coming back to you, and the floors are done. The last time you were here, they were a dark espresso color. We started the painting process, and now we are completing. We're restarting and completing the painting process. And please enjoy our white oak flooring from 1939. We're covering all the floors up in the kitchen and dining area to start. Then we'll move up to here to get the walls painted. We've brought lunch with us. I made muffins. Also, so these are, I didn't want baseboards in the house. These are like 3/4 round shoe molding, and I saw them installed in the upstairs bathroom. Luckily, they had just installed 2 pieces, and I realized they just looked, they didn't have enough modern look to them, even though I wanted wood, simple. I preferred no baseboards, but the way that the old floors are and the way that they meet the wall, it was impossible to not have something to finish that bottom, like, jaggedy flooring to the, jaggedy drywall. So I went out and picked just this really simple square piece of pine. They didn't have white oak, so we decided to go with this pine one just because it was really simple, and I'll show it to you on the floor. And the other thing I caught that day when I saw these for the first time is that the registers, the floor registers here, they were going to just do simple metal ones, and I didn't like the idea of having metal in the floor. So they went and got me these beautiful oak ones in the floor. So you'll get to see these also on the floor. I'm really excited about catching these things because it's these little details that make such a difference. And for me, because I'm already having to purchase all of these things, as opposed to replacing them, I'd prefer just to get the ones that, I like the most. So. So this mailbox came with the house, and it's not our favorite, and we haven't had the tool, but we found this in our car to take it down, so I'm about to do it. It's already so satisfying. What year do you think this was put up?
Me?
1970s?
Definitely. It looks like 70s where I grew up.
Do you think a dude picked it?
I don't know.
I feel like a dude picked it. It's the eagle that gives it away for me.
Yeah, it's that colonial. Yeah, I'm happy to see this go.
Ooh, got it in there tight. The rusty dust. if anybody sees this video and is really interested in this, I'll give it to you for free. Oh. We're standing inside the primary shower, which is very large, and that's really nice. This back was actually supposed to be a solid piece, just like here. So they're going to come back and take this out and put the solid piece in. I was pretty clear about wanting this to be a solid piece. Like you'll see the niche out here as a solid piece, so there's no reason that it needs to stay like this. Also, you know, when you're remodeling a whole house, you just want to get it right while you can, because this is something that every time I got in the shower, I would be bummed about. I just think that either it should have been all tile or all the one piece, and that way it's just modern, consistent. But this breakup, I don't like it. Someone fix it. So this is an example of the solid back niche, and this is a good lesson that that we all learn all the time, which is I had a feeling I shouldn't do this niche, and I did it anyway. But ultimately, I realized I don't want it, because what I had in my mind was like, 3 shelves, and unfortunately, I had went away on a trip when this was happening, so whenever I communicated it, it just didn't get through. So it's just this large niche, but I'm not going to have like large bottles in here because it's not a shower. This is just a dry niche. So they're going to take this out for me and put a wood, what's that called? Like a stud. It's called a stud here. So that way I can attach a couple hooks. So that way, when I step out of the shower, there's towels right here, which would be really nice, because the way the bathroom is, especially with a slanted ceiling, there's not really a place for a bar necessarily on the wall, so maybe over there, but over there, like on the other side of the room, isn't the perfect place for towels when you're stepping out of the shower. So I think this will be perfect, and actually make this a little more simple. While we're on the subject of niches, I thought it would be really nice to have a niche just with the tub, for obvious reasons, a little dish of soap. And I had them make this solid niche to match the shower niche, but now that it's in, I realize it's going to be right across from the vanity, and the stone for the vanity is this quartzite called Crystalla, and it's very pretty. It's like a very warm, creamy with like orange veining in it. It's quite beautiful. So now that this is in, I've asked them actually to remove it and drywall the sides and the top, so that way I can just have the Crystalla in the back and then as a shelf here. And I think it'll just look a little more elevated. And the hard thing about when you're remodeling, of course, is like there's a million choices to make. And sometimes along the way, I've tried to make things a little simpler. So I had enough tile and I thought, let's just do it all the same. But after having it all in, I realized that this should really match over here. And also because this is a direct line of sight into the bedroom, and I thought I would much prefer to look at the Crystalla, even though this is obviously very pretty. And when they do that, I might actually have them extend the shelf out just a little bit from the wall, or curve it, or do something a little different just to make this extra special. So that's it. Okay, we're at the Container Store, right, Mo? And we've picked up all of the Alpha system for both closets in the house. We also have a garbage can here and all the utensil holders way in the back. So we're going to take Surface Street and we're going to go slow. We should slow.